Everybody, it's Jasvinder, and welcome back to your daily dose of wisdom, motivation, and inspiration. And I want to tell you that I'm very grateful to be here with you guys today, and I can't tell you how happy it makes me to be doing really what I was put here to do. It's an amazing feeling. So thanks for watching. So today's quote is actually a Jasvinder original. So I won't be holding up any books written by anybody else. So as it says in the title, we're talking about the comfort zone today. So the message today is that the comfort zone is the coffin of the living. So that sounds rather daunting, right? We got Halloween coming up right around the corner, but I mean that in all sincerity. The comfort zone is the coffin of the living. So we hear people talk all the time about get out of your comfort zone, right? So a lot of these expressions that are used, in passing. What does it say here? Will you be teaching us how to tie a knot in a tie like yours? Maybe. Thanks for that. Some other time, perhaps. Okay, but that's not a no. Okay, so we're talking about getting out of your comfort zone, and people always talk about get out of your comfort zone. A lot of these expressions that are just tossed around in casual conversation, they allude to much deeper concepts. Thanks for that, Yum Yum Foodie, Eddie. The coughing of the living? No, I don't. That's not what I mean. The coffin, the sarcophagus. All right. So let's just get into it. A lot of these things you hear tossed around, they refer to much deeper concepts, and the context where people use them in conversation. Oh, get out of your comfort zone. It doesn't give you a true insight as to what that really means, where the comfort zone really comes from. So your comfort zone is, of course, as most of us understand, are the patterns of behavior that you perform automatically. They're your default mode, right? And you could call them compulsive behaviors. You could do them in your sleep. It's your autopilot. And when you deviate from those behaviors, it's uncomfortable, it's scary, and it's very hard to maintain any behavior that deviates from your comfort zone long term. This is the demise of all sincere New Year's resolutions, is that people say they're going to change the way they eat. They're going to change the way that they live their life in some way, shape, or form. And what happens is a few months later, it's back to the way it was before. Because, thanks, I appreciate that. Stay cool, man, you too. So they go back to the way things were because it's not so easy to get out of your comfort zone. And the way this works is, the way you get stuck in it to begin with is, you'll understand why it's so hard to break out of it, because your comfort zone comes from something that we talked about in one of the previous broadcasts, which is that when you're born, your subconscious mind is wide open and there's no filter on what goes into it. And that's because at that stage of your life as an infant, your brain is being filled with information from your parents and your teachers and your environment, where you're learning how to live and function within the world. And once you reach a certain age, somewhere between 3 and 5 years old, it really depends. And again, I'm not a developmental psychologist, but there comes a point pretty early on in life where it's capped right where it is. Thanks again. I can't see your name down there. Christian555, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. So once it's capped off, then that becomes your set survival habits. Everything that's in there at that point, you're holding on to it for dear life, because that's what you learned from very early on in life. This is how you function in the world. And it's very hard to change it. Like we talked about before, imagine how dangerous it would be if you could just undo your responses to extreme cold or heat. It's not good for you. So basically, what you have happening is how do you help people? Okay, we'll get to that at the end. All right. Thanks for the questions, though, guys. So, long story short. Okay, I'm gonna just block this guy right here. It's very rude. All right, cool. Okay, great. So moving on real quick. So, as I was saying, the information comes into your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind seals it off. You're using that to survive. And then what happens is when you deviate from it, you're deviating from what tells you that's going to keep you alive. So that right there, it's part of the reptile brain, part of the limbic brain, and that's the basis of your comfort zone. But it's a contradiction because you have a fundamental need to learn and to grow. So like we talked about before, you have 6 basic needs: stability, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. So on the one hand, your lower nature, your animal nature, is keeping you confined to your comfort zone because it's preserving your life. But it's also negating your higher nature because it's denying you the fulfillment of your need for growth. Does that make sense? So your need for growth is something that comes from beyond just survival. It's sort of higher up on the spectrum of needs. So your comfort zone is a self-contradictory state. Yeah, exactly. Thanks for blocking that jerk. You know, I mean, it's cool if this doesn't resonate with you, right? I can't be all things to all people, and there's a teacher for every student out there. I firmly believe that. So if this doesn't speak to you, just kindly, you know, go watch something else. Find something that does inspire you. The point is to be inspired, and you know, usually haters are not the most inspired people. Anyway, that being said, so what happens is you're in a state of self-contradiction. You stay in these patterns, and it keeps things comfortable. But you know, there's another saying: good is the enemy of great. So when things are comfortable, things are just fine. Probably your bills are getting paid. Probably you're maintaining your relationships. Probably you're maintaining your job. But I'm not a priest, no. But probably what happens is you're probably not shooting very far beyond that, because that means going for something new. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever stayed in a relationship that was painful, or it was negative, or it just wasn't a very loving relationship, or maybe it was even abusive, but you stayed in it because that had become what you were used to? Anybody with me on that? How about staying in a job where you were unappreciated, or underpaid, or overworked, or any of the three, but you didn't leave because it was scary? You became used to that job. That job defined your routine. It defined when you woke up, where you went in the morning, how long you stayed, when you came home, and it also defined the kind of money you had for where you wanted to live, what you wanted to eat, what you wanted to wear, what you were going to do on date night, what you were going to do with your kids on the weekends. So when you throw those things into question, people tend to cling to the devil that they know versus the devil that they don't, if you want to put it in those terms. But it's a life of mediocrity. At the end of the day, when we talked about middle class thinking that came from Steve Siebold, where they just want to be comfortable, well, the other part of that saying is that when they die, when they're welcomed into heaven, they say, "Congratulations, you've arrived safely at death." Okay, so it's not much of it. People like that do not inspire others. So here's how you get out of your comfort zone and build, expand it so that the things that made you uncomfortable are now comfortable, and you can function automatically with new skills and higher ways of living. So when you first introduce an idea that is contradicting your patterns, what's going to happen is you come up against something that Bob Proctor called the terror barrier. Not the terrier barrier, because that's like a watchdog, right? But the terror barrier. And I love he has a brilliant exposition on this, and he's one of the great teachers on the subject, Bob Proctor. Check him out. Some of you guys know him from The Secret, but he's got stuff that goes a lot deeper than that if you just look for it. The Secret is kind of introduces certain ideas, but he's really one of the most brilliant teachers about this, and he has amazing things to say. So that you come up against the terror barrier, which is literally your survival instincts telling you, don't do that. Don't do that, because who knows what's going to happen. Have you ever noticed how when you try to talk to a member of the opposite sex that you think is out of your league? Maybe this hasn't happened to you for a long time, but let's talk about when you were in maybe middle school and you try to talk to a girl you thought was really cute, or a guy you thought was really cute. Well, what happened? Maybe your hands got cold and sweaty, and you felt really hot, and your heart rate's increasing, and your stomach feels weird, and you're short of breath. That's your sympathetic nervous system triggering the fight or flight response as if you were being eaten by a tiger. Okay, do you really want to have your horizons in life with things like talking to a girl or a guy? Of course, being a guy, I always think talk to a girl, Talk to the opposite sex, ask for a raise, try to have that heart-to-heart with your kids or your spouse or your employer or your best friend. These things that are uncomfortable but so necessary for you to feel alive and fulfilled, and you avoid them because your body goes, this isn't right, this isn't normal, this is uncomfortable, I'm going to die. Really, look at what the body's doing. The body is preserving itself from a lethal attack by withdrawing all of the blood from the extremities into the vital organs. That's why your hands get cold and clammy. Your brain, your reptile brain, is telling your body that you're in the jaws of a freaking tiger. So it's kind of childish to live your life that way, wouldn't you agree? That you're going to really allow something as little as another person saying no instill the fear of death in you. So we got to get past this. I think there's no question. We got to get past this if we're going to have any kind of meaningful life. So when you impress an idea upon your subconscious mind that's foreign to your outside your comfort zone, you freak out. And what usually happens is you just bounce right back off that terror barrier, in Bob Proctor's words, and you're back into your comfort zone. It's when you ramp up to go to the gym as your New Year's resolution, but by March, the gyms are empty again. If you've noticed, if you guys are consistent on this, you'll notice that by March, that surge of people is gone. Okay? That's why the contracts are written the way they are. People know that this is how it works. It's predictable. So, when you force that new idea into your mind and you set yourself 40 days or 90 days or 120 days or 1,000 days, which is about 3 years, that you're going to do this thing every single day, what happens is your subconscious mind, it freaks out, it tries to reject it, but eventually what happens is it goes, okay, this idea is here to stay. This idea is here to stay, and if I don't learn how to work with it, then our survival is in question. Does that make sense? So if you allow yourself to react to the fear, then you're right back where you were to begin with. And you can continue that your entire life, and there are many people who do. There are people who got all their bills paid on time, and when they're on their deathbed, all their regrets, it's tragic. It's tragic, the kinds of things that they wish they had done and they didn't because they were too busy paying them bills, all right? Don't let it happen to you. If you consistently impress that idea upon your mind, now your survival instinct says, we've got to stick with this, we've got to work with it, we've got to integrate it. And when you get to that point, you'll notice that fear is gone, and you'll wonder, well, am I really doing anything new? Have I somehow compromised? You may doubt yourself. You may wonder, am I really out of my comfort zone anymore? Well, in a way, you're not. Your comfort zone has been expanded to include the new idea, that now you can function at that new higher level automatically. And that could mean that you are comfortable talking to people more directly, more openly, being more emotionally open. It could mean that you are able to have a relationship with somebody who is a healthier person for you to be with. Because if you're used to being with an unhealthy person, then it can be scary actually to be with someone who's good for you, and you got to get over that. It could mean that you're more comfortable earning more money. It could mean that you're more comfortable working harder. It could mean all kinds of wonderful things for you. But at the end of the day, it's up to you to push, and just stay on it. Stay on it, and know that the very same survival mechanism that is pushing you away from those new horizons eventually will work with you and force you to stay in it and move forward. Thanks very much, guys. Thanks for the comments. For the most part, thanks, and hope this has helped and was uplifting. And until tomorrow, have a beautiful day. Thanks so much.